Hi everyone, it's Hannah or Lambency and welcome back to another doll customization video. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made Marcy from Amphibia. If you don't know, Amphibia is a show on Disney Channel. It's really good, I recommend it, and I really hope to do the other characters, Anne and Sasha, to go along with Marcy. We'll see. I know I still have a lot of Steven Universe characters to do, but I will get to it eventually, I promise. By the way, this is my dog right here. You can kind of see her ears. Alright, let's get started. Let's begin with drawing on the new face. I already pulled out the hair with tweezers and removed the factory paint with 100% acetone nail polish remover. Then I sprayed the face with Mr. Super Clear. Make sure to wear a mask to protect yourself when using Mr. Super Clear or any other kind of spray sealant. The materials I'm using for this face-up are, as usual, Faber-Castell watercolor pencils, a kneaded eraser, and Faber-Castell soft pastels. I also sprayed Mr. Super Clear between each layer of the face-up in order to sort of save my progress and build up more color and vibrancy. Also, I forgot to mention that the doll I'm using for Marcy is Rosabella Beauty from Ever After High. You've probably noticed that I almost always choose Ever After High dolls to work on because, I don't know, I just really like their face molds and their bodies more so than Monster High. Once I finished drawing on the face, I added white acrylic paint to the eyes for the reflection and then made the eyes and lips shiny with gloss varnish. I will link all my materials in the description below. I also added blush to the face using soft pastels, which I forgot to film or I lost the video, I don't know what happened, but yeah, I added blush. Anyway, let's move on to the hair. First I colored her head with black Sharpie so that any possible bald spots aren't as obvious. Next, I took black yarn and cut strands to the necessary length, then tied the strands onto a metal hoop so I could brush it out smooth. I used a pet slicker brush to do the job. Once the yarn was tangle-free, I took a flat iron and straightened it. I cut the yarn hair off the hoop and then used tacky glue to glue it down onto plastic wrap. This will keep the hair together in little sections of what are called wefts. I put tacky glue down on the plastic wrap and then push the hair into the glue with a palette knife. Then I add more glue on top of that and press it down some more to completely coat the top of the weft. Once the glue dried, I cut the excess glue off the top of the wefts. Now it's time to glue the wefts onto the head using tacky glue once again. I start from the bottom of the head and work my way up. Now that all the hair is on, let's give Marcy a haircut. Here is her finished hairdo. Clothes time! I started with her shirt. There are 2 back pieces, 2 sleeves, and a front piece. Easy peasy. First I pinned and sewed together the back pieces to the front, right sides together at the shoulders. Here's me trying something new, a sewing machine view. Oh, that rhymed. I decided not to continue to do this past the shirt since it's very hard to see what is going on exactly, but if you guys really want to see me sewing, I can figure out a better camera angle next time. Anyway, next I hem the sleeves with fabric glue and then sew them onto the shirt. Here's a shot of my cat Percy watching me sew. He's so cute. Next, I sewed the sides of the shirt together. I hemmed the bottom of the shirt as well as one side of the back opening. I didn't film it, but I added Velcro too. Let's move on to her skirt. As usual, I'm using patterns from DG Requiem on Etsy, which I will link below. I altered this particular pattern a little bit by making the skirt longer. To create ruffles on the skirt, I sewed a basting stitch at the top and then pulled the thread. I cut out a waistband, folded it in half, and then sewed it to the skirt. I placed the skirt on the doll to figure out the sizing. I then sewed halfway up the back. I hemmed one side of the opening and then sewed on snaps to close the skirt. Marcy has this blue patch on her skirt that she seems to have sewn on herself, so I cut out a triangle of blue fabric and sewed it onto the green with visible stitches. Finally, I cut the little triangles out of the skirt. I left the bottom of the skirt unhemmed since it's supposed to be messy anyway. Now for Marcy's chest plate, which I cut out of brown felt. I laced these two sides of the chest plate together with thread. Then I glued the front chest plate piece on top of the bottom and cut out gray felt, which will attach them together. I added Velcro and used a Sharpie to draw on what I'm guessing are supposed to be the rivets or studs. Time for the hooded cape. I basically cut out a giant circle with a hole for the neck, but I ended up cutting it to a half circle. I hemmed the neckline, sides, and bottom of the cloak. For the hood, I'm actually using Doll Lightful's cat ear hoodie pattern, but without the cat ears, of course. I cut out 4 hood pieces, hemmed the back part of the hood, and then sewed along the hood, stopping here. Then I hemmed the hood, which will be the lining, and placed wrong sides together in the other hood. Sorry, I forgot to show that I sewed on the hood trim. Anyway, I sewed the lining to the hood and then sewed the hood to the cloak. Finally, I put a wire through the opening of the hood trim so that I will be able to pose the hood more easily. I then glued the sides of the hood trim down and added snaps. Let's move on to the little details of Marcy's outfit. This is the thing that's on her belt. I carved it out of Apoxie Sculpt. Once I got the shape right, I sanded it down. Make sure to wear an N95 mask when sanding. This little thing is the marshmallow that's hanging from Marcy's bag. I think it's a marshmallow. I feel like mine doesn't really look like a marshmallow, but oh well. This is the shell that goes over the clasp of her cape, which I also made using Apoxie Sculpt. Next, I painted everything white as a base, then went over it with this salmon pink color. Once the paint dried, I added gloss varnish to seal the paint and make them shiny. I drew on little details with marker. I also hot glued a keychain clasp onto the marshmallow. Marcy has black fingerless gloves, but since it's really difficult to make doll gloves out of fabric, I decided to use my trusty Sharpie. Here is Marcy with her belt, which I made out of gray felt. Oh, I rhymed again. Now for Marcy's bag. I just googled doll bag pattern and used the pattern examples to draw my own. I totally winged it. Also, I wanted to make it out of felt, but I didn't have the right felt color, so what I did was glue lighter blue fabric down on top of the felt. The felt makes the bag stiffer. Then I glued the sides of the bag together. I sewed on snaps so that the bag is actually functionable. I covered the stitches with a buckle I cut out of black felt. Finally, I used this black piping as the strap and glued it down on the inside of the bag and added the marshmallow charm. For Marcy's shoes, I took these white boots I got from a doll. I'm not sure what doll, sorry. I painted it gray, and then to mimic those straps that go across her boots, I painted certain areas of the shoes with darker gray. I then glued on the fur fabric to the top of the boots. Lastly, I glued on a piece of white fur to the back and shoulders of the cape. I also hot glued the horn over where the clasp of the cape is. I cut a little barrette out of green felt for her hair, and all done. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!